on YouTube. This is the Addy with Jor. I don't know how it looks.
Yes.
But, yes. We not gonna dishonor Oprah over here. Okay? I cannot judge a seat that I want to sit in.
I'm kidding, Miss Winfrey. I still want to work for OWN Network.
Anywho, I have tonight with me my brothers. This is Robert Walker.
Hey everybody.
And this is Gio Johnson.
How you guys doing?
I'm gonna allow them to introduce themselves, and then we're gonna get right into what we're gonna talk about on the Addy today. So, Robert, you can go first.
Cool. Hey everyone, my name is Robert Walker. I am a Chicago native. I'm a musician, songwriter. I am also a creative writer looking to get into film and television production. Student success coach. What else do I do? I do a lot of things in the city of Chicago. I've had the opportunity to former drink taker at Starbucks. I can still make a mean frappuccino, so I got your boy. But yeah, that sums it up.
Thank you, Robert. And we have Gio Johnson.
Hi, I'm Gio Johnson, also from Chicago, and I am a...
They didn't tell me.
Ooh, no. So, I'm an actor, writer, director, DVD returner, food burner. I do it all.
Okay, praise God. So yes, these are my brothers, and what you'll find that we have in common is director, scriptwriter, film producer, that whole thing. And today's conversation is basically going to be us talking about the ins and outs, the struggles, the success, and just the lifestyle of an emerging film writer, an emerging producer, director, all the whole nine, because we all plan on doing all of that, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, so we're just gonna have a little conversation about it and just share, some of our truth, and hopefully it will, touch your heart. That was real. Yeah, I felt like a preacher.
Oh.
I didn't mean that.
It don't take much. I am a preacher too.
Exactly.
It's in your blood.
I meant that, but I didn't mean that. I meant like, hopefully y'all can relate.
Hopefully it inspires you.
Exactly. That is the point of the Addy, to talk about situations or to discuss, things that just are not tapped on or not touched. So, we can open up this conversation with who inspires y'all, like in that round. Robert, don't talk about your favorite Starbucks manager.
Okay.
Gio, we're not gonna talk about whatever you do with the trains, with the toys.
Oh my God! Please.
Okay.
I don't want to be a Toys R Us kid.
So yeah, who inspires you in like the film, as it pertains to directing, producing, writing? You don't have to be too short or too long. Like, just give us a step into your mind concerning it. Gio, you can go first.
I think the first people that comes to my mind is the Akils, Mary Brock Akil and Salim Akil. I think they've done a lot of great things for black television. I think they cover it on all bases, and I think the beautiful thing that they do for me is that they have the conversation from all perspectives when they do their shows. And I think that's a necessary thing, but not an easy thing to do when you're discussing black issues and racial issues and political issues, and you do it in a way, because they've done comedy, they've done drama, they've done action, and they still encompass black culture in it and get the conversation going, but not in a way where it's uncomfortable, but also not in a way where it's always a joke and where it's overshadowed by the laughs. But you can get the laughs, but still get the message. And I feel like that's sometimes a hard balance as a writer, to pull the audience in, get a message across, make it relatable to everybody, and not make it an uncomfortable situation, and not make it coonish. Because we love to.
We love a coon.
we love it, and they love to coon. So I think that's the beautiful thing about them. They're definitely somebody I look to, from The Game to Girlfriends to Black Lightning. Just everything that they do encompasses our culture, but invites everybody in to be a part of that conversation and the narrative. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
The first 3 names that came to mind for me were Ava DuVernay, of course.
Yes.
Love her.
Ryan Coogler and Jordan
Yes.
Peele. Especially like for what's happening in the 21st century in regards to like being black filmmakers. I feel like they're bringing a certain level of creativity and like inspiring art that I won't say like black creators haven't done before, because we've had like a Spike Lee and people like that to come before. But just like their approach to cinema and like introducing certain themes and allowing that to be able to capture you, but you like go on this journey either because you can relate or because it is something that's funny or because it is something that's like, oh my gosh, like how could something like this come out of a normal person's mind?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like those are the first 2 names that come to mind, and then anyone that knows who knows, like I am a superhero geek, like DC, Marvel, Batman to Spider-Man, like everybody. And someone that's really inspired me on television right now is Greg Berlanti, who's actually the creator of like the whole Arrowverse. So that's Arrow, Flash, Legends, Black Lightning, Stargirl, Supergirl.
I love
Spin-offs that come on. You know what I'm saying? So they have all of these shows.
All of CW's budget.
Literally the entire CW, even Nancy Drew and Riverdale, like all of that stuff.
Oh, is he over that?
He's touching all of that stuff.
Oh my God.
Get this, y'all. You on Netflix, Greg Berlanti. You know what I'm saying?
I thought you was prophesying.
No.
Okay, because I was ready to receive that.
Okay.
You said you, I
He
said
said
yes. Thank you.
Then he said Netflix. I said the deal is coming.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Listen, if you watch it right now,
Listen.
receive it. No, but and if I'm wrong, you know, she'll edit that out. But anyways, Greg Berlanti is just one of those people that's literally touching just about every medium and genre when it comes to television, and that's something that's very inspiring to me.
Yeah.
Like they just had a huge crossover that they did, which is something that's never been done on TV before. Pulling shows like Smallville and 1990s Flash and Michael Keaton Batman movie, to get all of that in one TV universe is like extraordinary.
He literally pulled on like every aspect of the DC universe. And it was what, just 5 episodes?
5 episodes. Yeah. So those are like the 4 people that I'm constantly studying right now, and like their approach to this craft.
I also study outside of black culture. I study Ryan Murphy.
Oh yeah, I don't know how I forgot that name.
Ryan Murphy is like any genre he touches is. We've seen him do drama, we've seen him do comedy, we've seen him do musical, we've seen him do horror, and it's hard to do a horror TV show.
Yes.
Horror movie, yes, but American Horror Story is about to be on like its like 7th or 8th season, and that man comes with a fresh story every time.
Every time.
Every
I
time.
just don't. How many murder?
Listen,
Just murder.
I mean,
This man needs counseling.
the budget on blood alone, my God.
Just blood, buckets and buckets.
Buckets and buckets
Tubs
of
of blood.
But no, he's literally like, and I've seen, the thing I respect about Ryan Murphy is he'll have a hit show, and then he may have one that just don't click. But the thing is that it's always innovative. Even if it doesn't hit, it's something fresh.
I agree with that.
I've never seen him do something that's repetitive or like a repeat that somebody has already done. I specifically remember a show he had called The New Normal, and that's exactly what it became. It's now the new normal now. That show was ahead of its time. It was about a woman that was a surrogate for a gay couple, and she ended up living with them and her daughter, and they became this weird like family, and her racist mother was in and out, and she would say problematic stuff all the time like, I'm not racist, I was the first person to try Chipotle down the street. But it's like
Chipotle?
She would say Chipotle.
Yeah.
But that narrative, we literally see it all the time now with, you know, same-sex couples becoming the norm and surrogacy. Kanye and Kim then had like 3-4 surrogates or whatever. Beyonce, no, she had a surrogate. I'm kidding. Edit that out.
It's going to be a good pause right there.
But the thing is, I just love that he continues. And that man will have like 5-6 shows on the air at a time. Like just back to back different networks at that. He's learned how to capitalize on television and just be like, okay, I have a show in the drama department here, I have a musical show here, I have a horror show there, I have a comedy show here, and that man barely touched, and he's hands on with everything, and he has a writer's room.
Amen. I mean, yes.
Next question.
So yeah, so we love Ashonda Rhimes, and I love Issa Rae.
I forgot about.
I love Issa Rae.
I forgot about Issa, and I feel so bad.
Guys, don't judge me. I haven't really caught much of Issa Rae's stuff.
Really?
Okay.
So give me.
She's fairly new.
Stuff.
Like her and Lena
That's
Waithe.
Insecure, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like,
and Lena.
yeah. But the thing is, Issa and Lena, they're sort of fresh. They're sort of new. Like, I mention Issa Rae to most people, and they're like, "Who?" And I'm like, "Okay." Or even Lena Waithe, I'm like, "Okay." Bonnie and Clyde, no, doesn't ring a bell. Right.
Which is filmed in
The Shine. But yeah, and you know what? I stand for Spike Lee. And it's very controversial, but I consider myself a film, like I'm a film person, I'm a director, I'm a writer, but I'm also an activist, which is why it's hard for me to push out content, because most of my stuff is not, I know some of it's not going to be received well by the general public, because I have so much to say, the way I format it, and I don't, like, I'm a comedian, praise God. Like, I am a comedian to my core.
Is without even trying.
But some of my content, it is not for the faint at heart. It will not make you laugh. It probably will make you cry before it makes you laugh. Yeah, that thing of activism, I just love it. So when I see a Spike Lee joint come on, I'm like, hey, I'm interested in this, because I know that even though most people would consider it, because it's crazy, I'm going to just say this. He said that he's made comments about Tyler Perry stuff being coonery, but I've heard more of his stuff being coonery than I've heard that Tyler Perry's was coonery.
Really?
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Just looking at it, I don't remember the name of it, but even like the film with like that explored blackface and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's like it was very controversial. I had to watch it for a class in college. But that was like the first experience I had where like a black filmmaker had made something that made me think they were like a racist other. And I was like, I appreciate like the risk that he takes, and like the fact that he pushes the envelope. He's not my favorite, like I'll honestly say that, and I'll go on record saying it. But there are still quite a few like Spike Lee joints that I would recommend. Like Malcolm X is one of my top 3 favorite movies of all time.
Love Malcolm X.
Like, you know, those are like one of those classics you have to see, you know?
Also, School Days, I could literally...
I love School Days.
School Days is a movie I could just watch all the time. And I think that's one where he got it. You had the balance of everything. You had the balance of the activism. You had the comedy and everything, but the message was still there.
Mm-hmm. He threw a couple songs in there. You're just a jigaboo.
Right.
Listen. I got a little song every now and
For
then.
everybody that says Tisha Campbell can't sing, go listen to the soundtrack to School Days. What was her song? Alone Tonight.
I don't want to be alone tonight. Ooh. That is so funny.
He had half the cast of A Different World in that movie.
He did, and it was marvelous.
It was great.
But it's stuff like that that captures me, because it tells a story that's going to outlast most of the movies that we see or that we push out.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm a comedian, so I appreciate comedy. I appreciate the ability to tap on situations that are heavy and bring light to them, and sort of that whole I hate to say Me Too, but the relatability aspect of it, to be able to relate to different things. I believe that he captures it well. One of my favorite things that he's done, it actually isn't a movie, it's a documentary. And it's a documentary about the 4 girls that were murdered in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, I still watch that literally about 5 times a year. And sometimes I can't watch it because I'm so moved to do something. But that was I'm like, nobody else is out here trying to talk about that. These girls will probably not be remembered if it wasn't for him doing something like that.
And it wasn't even just, it was with stuff like that, it's the way that he told the story, and it's the in-depthness that he got into it, and the realism of, because we've heard the story a million times, but to sit there and find people that were around and to get the account and connected and see how it has affected down the timeline.
It makes it more personal.
Yeah.
It makes it more personal, and it makes it more, it pulls on you more. It makes it feel like you're literally talking and you're in the midst of it. And I feel like that's how your art should provoke people. And I watch something and I feel like I'm sitting, if I'm watching the court scene, I feel like I'm in the courtroom hearing it with you. I'm like, oh Lord,
right. That's real.
She going to jail.
She
We know Grace didn't, but she going to jail.
But she's going to jail.
I didn't feel like that for Grace, but you know what I mean.
Grace, Lord Jesus, grace. But yes, it's yeah.
Ooh, we love you, Tyler.
We love
Listen,
you.
I stand for Tyler.
Uncle Tyler, we love you.
I stand for you, sir, and I can't wait to meet you.
Same.
Listen,
I can't wait to meet you.
we're gonna come visit you in Atlanta.
So let's talk about him though. So let's talk about
Why do you look at me?
because I do believe a lot of people have opinions about this man, but literally, I'm gonna edit this out. I was gonna say, you know how the Bible says the last shall be first and the first.
Girl, the Bible say it.
The Bible.
Listen.
But he's literally been one that has been ridiculed. Like, it's so many opinions about this man and his work. Even what he did, he stood on a ledge. Like, any man that's that comfortable with dressing up as a woman, and to me, he has still maintained his masculinity. It's my opinion. Shoot me. I live. But he has maintained a level of integrity, but by also expanding his reach in that way. Like, that's risky. So my next question probably to you guys would be, what type of risk do you see yourself taking as it pertains to film?
Go ahead, Jim.
Oof.
I think my biggest risk that I want to do is, and I think I've already taken it with my short film, which is where in edits right now, is tackling conversations that people don't want to have. My film is literally called Conversations, and in it, just to give some backstory on it, we're talking about the relationship of an estranged father in a black household, and not just, I mean, we've heard that narrative, but we never tackled what it mentally does to a black man, to a black boy who then has to become a man. We've seen the narrative of it, but it's always been told in the light of he can become a drug dealer, or he can become this, or he just becomes angry, and that's not always the case. Sometimes what happens is that there's a void that then bursts a piece of insecurity, because if I never had a father, when it's time for me to become one, the insecurity and the fear of becoming one is then amplified because I never had the true example of what it was supposed to be. So I want to tackle those conversations in a way that speaks on I think the mental aspect.
Gotcha.
Mental health is a huge thing, and I'm mad that we're just now tackling it, because it's been a thing. It's always been a thing, and we've called it other things a lot of times.
Do you think, because you mentioned that you were mad that we're just now tackling it, but do you think that we had the emotional fortitude to be able to open those type of doors before this moment?
I think we've always had the opportunity. Always had the opportunity to do a lot of things, but we've always been lazy. And this generation is getting even lazier. We are in the microwave generation.
And expound on that. So, and even lazier as it pertains to what? Because some will argue that we have more success because we just go and do it. So, what do you mean as it pertains to? Is it with our mental, like integrity, morals?
And how we want things to be done. Now,
Gotcha.
It also works in the reverse sense, like you said. We also have access to things to just get things done on our own. You can film a whole movie on your phone now
In 5 days.
In 5 days.
5 minutes. But Jesus. In the realm, what I'm saying is, we have to take time to develop, understand, and correct things. And a lot of times we don't want to. It's like when you see an impatient parent with a child. Instead of trying to talk to the child and explain to the child why what they're doing is wrong, how to correct it, and how they can do better, you get angry, upset, yell, and hit them. And I think that's what we've done with the mental health issues a lot of times. We don't want to deal with it and have to go and do the hard work, because that means that we have to also acknowledge our responsibility for why this person is the way they are if we play the part in it.
Gotcha.
And that's a lot of things I want to tackle in it.
So the question was
So like what risk? Because we talked about the risk that Tyler Perry took, the risk that Spike Lee took. What risk will you take as it pertains to like your film and stuff? Like what risk do you know that you're going to take?
How much will you put out to get in?
Okay, wait. So I think that my objective as a filmmaker, as a writer, a storyteller, one is to first tell stories, but to give people a voice. So I'm like a real like champion of the underdog and people that are overlooked or that have to like literally come start from the bottom. Now we hear like people that have those types of stories, be it people that we know, like that we see day to day, or characters that are created that feel really real to us. Like one of my favorite shows is This Is Us. And the reason why that's one of my favorite shows is because every week, I'm not caught up, so please don't spoil it, but every week that I watch the episode, I walk away like, oh man, like, I really hope Kevin is okay. Like, if you can do that with a fictional character, then somewhere in your writing, of course the actors, like, actors don't always receive the credit that they deserve. But somewhere in your writing and in the storytelling and even what themes you want to have, if it's a TV show throughout the season or if it's a movie throughout the movie, like all of that needs to be able to come across. So a huge risk that I want to take is just making sure that I give people that voice. I want people to be able to look at my work and say, oh my gosh, that's me, or that's my dad, or that's my mom, or that's my wife, like whoever it is, so then I'm going to be able to say that. Also, like a huge part of who I am, and like I'm not bashful about it at all, is like I'm a Christian, like that's my faith. But I feel like sometimes people in cinema and in film who are Christians kind of forego good content because they feel like they can't put out certain things without compromising, and that's where it gets kind of controversial for me, because I feel like there's a way to put out quality things, push the envelope, tell certain stories, have certain dialogue, conversation, and it doesn't change you at your essence or at your foundation. Like that doesn't necessarily change who you are. So that's another risk that I want to take, especially because people have such a questionable view of the church. Yeah. So I want to, being someone that grew up in church and being someone that has had relationships with people that are not religious at all, similar to you, I want to be able to like tell both sides of that story, and like kind of meet in the middle and see where those roads intersect. And lastly, I just want all of my work to like start conversations. Like you need to walk away like, okay, let me call somebody because how do you feel about this? Like I want that to be the impact.
That's some fire content.
Yeah, when I see something that starts, that provokes a conversation afterwards, I know that you did a good job.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, I will never forget, we accidentally took, have you, either one of y'all ever seen the movie Blind Spotting?
No.
Please check it out. Such a good movie. David Diggs did it, and it's basically about a guy, he's on his 3rd day of probation. And on the 3rd, like, not the 3rd day, he's 3 days before he's about to get off of probation. And he sees an unarmed black guy get shot by a white cop in his back like 5 times. And his thing is, do I go to the police or do I stay quiet for these 3 days and worry about my own freedom? And his best friend is a white guy who grew up in the hood, so he's conflicted this whole time of seeing this narrative of, you can get away with this, if you in that position you will be okay. I have to sit in here and keep my mouth shut for my own freedom. And it's such a good movie, but we accidentally took a white boy to see it. And the whole like first 5 minutes of the movie, he's making jokes, we all just talking and laughing, and the minute that that unarmed white cop shoots that black boy, he is quiet and silent the rest of the movie.
You actually want to love Greenleaf so much?
Ooh, Greenleaf? I love Greenleaf too, but I hate Carissa.
I hate Charity.
I can't stand her. Okay, both of them actually.
Charity
Both of them
and Carissa,
I dislike Charity more, only because she's choosing. Yes, and I hope you put this in some bloopers. She is choosing to be rejected her whole life.
Exactly.
A whole lot.
I would rather them kill both of them off and bring back Kevin and his man.
His man is still there.
Yeah, the man's still there because that's Grace's father.
Right.
Yep,
that's the father of no, is that the father?
No, that ain't the father. The father is the other man, the one
that
right,
Tim Reed, the one that was he was on Sister.
Tim Reese.
Ray
Campbell.
Alfie Water, not Alfie Water. Lynn Whitfield's ex.
Yes.
Well, it wasn't even an ex. It was just the one she was messing with.
The one that got away.
Mm.
You got to be careful of them friends.
You do.
What about your friends? Woo. Will they give you a baby that you got to have from your husband for the next 30 years?
Grace. And she hated Grace. But you hated Grace because Grace was your greatest secret.
Yep.
Ooh.
Grace was your great. Now, she ain't come to preach, but.
My God.
Y'all don't think Grace
But you know what I hate though? I hate that anointed voice that Grace put on every time it's time to preach.
Listen.
Grace would be talking straight up. Then she'd say, you know what, Calvary?
I hate that.
Calvary. And I said, Grace!
Turn your Bibles. That anointed
Church. I said, Grace.
Y'all, the first time she preached, she said, turn with me to the book of Job. She ain't preached not one word. They turned their camera right off.
Because they wanted to know what was going on.
They said, cut.
But you want to know what's
They
so
said,
funny?
Grace, what happened?
That voice went straight out there when her son walked in that church. She said, and we're going to... Calvary, we're going to do a little something different today. She said, I'm going to be exposed and I'm going to tell on me before you can.
She said, good morning, Calvary. I say, God. What jumps into her voice every time?
You know what it reminded me of? Do you remember Flavor of Love, Buck Wild, when New York was about to stay in the house? And that urban accent left her. She turned to a straight up white girl. Mm-hmm. She became Becky for real. She said, yeah, it's Buck Wild. New York said, I'm staying in the house. She said, I don't feel safe here. He said, where did your accent go? That's Grace when her son walked in the church.
That's good TV though. Really, it's good TV.
It's great TV.
It's good TV. It's just full of drama.
Listen, somebody asked me what church I went to the other day. I said Harmony and Hope Chicago.
Okay. So my definition for great is different than other people's. Ask me how I felt about A Fall from Grace.
How do you feel?
It was great. Ask me why.
Why?
Don't post this. It's just us two. Anybody that can make a horrible movie that excellently intended for it to be bad. Y'all were expecting a good movie. he wanted to put out a bad movie because the last movie he made, people said it don't get no worse than this, and he said, "Let me show you." Great movie. I stand on that.
Listen, that's gonna be my excuse every time.
I stand on that. That's what gets me. I stand on that.
I stand on that.
I
Firmly.
I sign up on this. Thank you.
Listen,
You know what I think?
I second that.
Because we don't see Tyler Perry with friends though, other than Oprah and Cicely Tyson. And Cicely about to leave.
Cicely said, "Well, as long as I got Paul in the movie, then."
Cicely was running. I said, no.
She said she want to go to her house.
Brisha Webb was trying her hardest to get her out of there, and I said Cicely was not. When she said I want to go to my house, Cicely was trying to go home. She said y'all done had me on set, past my time. I want to go home. Y'all thought her character was trying to go home. Cicely wanted to go home. She was tired.
Sick of it.
She was sick of it.
Felicia Rashad played that part though.
She sure did. Claire Huxtable was over it.
Cicely's last role is gonna be her own film.
I wonder how that's gonna work.
It's gonna be epic.
Yeah.
Cause she gonna be laying there in that casket.
When do you think she gonna decide to leave?
120.
Because I think
She
God
gonna
is
take
waiting
all
for her to say.
120 years.
Yeah.
She's taking her time.
The fact that Maya Angelou left before Cicely,